Today I'm introducing dropout prevention through the CAP format. In 2015, the dropout rate of high school students in America is 5.9%. Considering there are 3.5 million high school students in the US, every year there are 206,000 high school students drop out from school. Dropping out from high school causes students dramatically increased chance of landing in prison, and they have worse health outcomes and lower life expectancies. I choose this topic because, as a future teacher, I feel I will be very sad if I can't see my students return to school next year due to academic, financial, or other reasons, and I really want to figure out a way to help them. I hope my students to finish at least high school before start working and they can be successful in their career. U.S. Department of Education generated a practice guide to provide suggestions to policymakers, teachers, and other educators to prevent dropouts. There are 6 recommendations provided within the practice guide. The first is utilize data systems. The second is adult advocating. The third one is academic support. The fourth one is implementing programs. The fifth is personalizing instruction. And the sixth is rigorous and relevant instruction. The first recommendation is to utilize data systems that support a realistic diagnosis of the number of students who drop out and that help identify individual students at high risk of dropping out. The critical first step for preventing dropout is understanding who is at risk of dropping out. Implementing a generic program without assessing the extent of the problem and accurately identifying the students who need it is ill-advised. Dropout intervention should be matched to the characteristics, climate, and practices of the school and its students who are at risk of dropping out. To carry out the recommendation, the educators should use longitudinal student-level data to get an accurate read of graduation and dropout rate. They should also use data to identify incoming students with histories of academic problems, behavior problems, and retentions. They should monitor the academic and social performance of all students continually. And they can review student-level data to identify students at risk of dropping out before key academic transitions. And they monitor students' sense of engagement and belonging in schools. Last but not least, they can collect and document accurate information on student withdrawals. However, there are some potential problems within this recommendation. First, systems and procedures to update data are slow and outdated. Districts and schools with outdated data systems will encounter problems consolidating and analyzing student-level data. To improve this situation, schools should choose systems that are as real-time as possible so they can get accurate information and data. Second, there are probably some organizational obstacles may hinder information sharing between the district and schools, school to school, or within schools. To solve this problem, districts can centralize data collection and dissemination to schools on a monthly or quarterly basis so that schools can regularly monitor student progress. Districts can also set up systems to promote the sharing of information across grade levels within feeder patterns of schools, such as using the unique student IDs to increase staff accountability for students moving from elementary to middle school and from middle school to high school. The third problem is data codes do not accurately reflect student mobility, in part because of stigmas about schools with a high number of dropouts. District and school administrators cannot properly design and implement dropout prevention practices if the data underestimate the extent of the problem. To solve this problem, districts and schools need to adjust data codes to include reasons for leaving. Students should not be counted as transferring to another school unless the receiving school has formally verified the student's enrollment. Then, what we should notice is staff may become burdened with extra data monitoring responsibilities. So maybe schools can consider offer extra subsidies to those staff who with extra data monitoring responsibilities. Now we are moving to the second recommendation, which is assign adult advocates to students at risk of dropping out. Students at risk of dropping out often have significant personal, family, and social barriers that interfere with ability to go to school and do well. Research suggests that students who have ongoing relationships with adults feel a greater sense of school membership, attachment, and involvement. Additional benefits of adult-student relationships include reduced risky behaviors, reduced absentee rates, improved grades, and improved communication and social skills. To carry out this recommendation, schools choose adults who are committed to investing in the student's personal and academic success, keep caseloads low, and purposefully match students with adult advocates. Schools should also establish a regular time in the school, day or week for students to meet with the adult. Students should also communicate with adult advocates about the various obstacles that they may encounter, and provide adult advocates with guidance and training about how to work with students, parents, or school staff to address the problems. However, this recommendation is also not perfect. First, maybe many schools lack ongoing systems and processes for meeting with students. School schedules leave little room for discussions about life events, struggles, frustrations, and possible solutions. To solve this problem, administrators should consider relocating daily schedules to provide a specific period for adult advocate student meetings to occur, or requiring meetings to occur during breaks within the school day, such as lunch or anniversary periods. Then, schools may find that staff or other adults are not available or not interested in working with students as adult advocates. At that time, the school administrators should let their staff know that their help as adult advocates will be so helpful to prevent student dropout. The school may also face resistance from staff who think that students already receive adult advocacy from school counselors. School counselors and teachers may not have adequate time to address individual student needs to the extent recommended, and may assume that this type of intensive mentoring and engagement is someone else's problem. To solve this problem, administrators first need to clearly define and explain the role of the advocates for the staff so that the advocates can effectively work with teachers and counselors on behalf of the students. Administrators also must encourage a culture shift that shares responsibilities for fostering student success among all school staff. The fourth problem within this recommendation is that there are limited resources are available to hire staff as advocates. Well, not all students in the school are in need of an advocate. One way to keep costs manageable is to ensure that other recommendations are effectively implemented so that students who are most at risk of dropping out are the ones who are assigned advocates. Last but not least, there is a very real problem, which is students might not want to meet with an adult advocate. Well, the job of the adult advocate is to establish and maintain a trusting relationship with the student. This will likely require persistence on the part of an adult and highlight the importance of the adult advocates taking responsibility for the success of the student. If the student is not interested in meeting, it is the adult's personal responsibility to find the student and establish a relationship or to determine an alternative approach for helping the student that the student agrees to. Now we are moving to the third recommendation, which is provide academic support and enrichment to improve academic performance. Research shows that low academic performance, absenteeism, and grade retention are related to dropping out. Providing academic supports such as tutoring or enrichment programs helps address skill gaps and offset a cycle of frustration and can enrich the academic experience for students who may be bored or disengaged. To carry out this recommendation, the school can provide individual or small group support in test-taking skills, study skills, or targeted in subject areas such as reading, writing, or math. They can also provide extra study time and opportunities for credit recovery and accumulation through after school, Saturday school, or summer enrichment programs. Now we see the timing issue again. There might be no more time in the school day to add another academic program. So schools may want to consider offering enrichment activities or academic support at times different from core classes so that students do not miss key curriculum while they are receiving support. Schools can offer enrichment courses as electives or offer additional support during advisory periods at the beginning or end of the day. Again, the attitude is another issue. Students may do not want to participate in tutoring outside of scheduled classes. Given the difficulties at-risk students may already have with attendance, it is more realistic to schedule a support class rather than expect students to attend tutoring sessions during typical social times at school, such as lunch. There is another problem that it may be hard to find tutors. So maybe the school administrators can ask help from universities nearby. So these college students can be tutors to help those students at high risk of dropping out. Now it is the fourth recommendation, which is implement programs to improve students' classroom behavior and social skills. School engagement includes a component of behavior and a component of identification with school. Disruptive behavior is correlated with dropping out. Dropout prevention interventions have sought to develop students' problem-solving and life skills based on the need to enhance student abilities to behave positively during school, thereby increasing a sense of school affiliation and engagement. To carry out this recommendation, the school can use adult advocates or other engaged adults to help students establish attainable academic and behavioral goals with specific benchmarks. They should also recognize student accomplishment. They should teach strategies to strengthen problem-solving and decision-making skills. And they can establish partnership with community-based program providers and other agencies such as social services, welfare, mental health, and law enforcement. Well, money again. There are limited resources for new courses. So incorporating lessons aimed at improving classroom behaviors or social skills does not have to be all or nothing endeavor. Teachers can model positive communications with students every day and incorporate positive examples of such skills into any curricular area. There is also a stereotype problem. Teachers and staff may stereotype at-risk students and assume that those kids can't be helped. Behavior-related disruptions create problems for schools and for at-risk students. Fights with teachers or peers can result in suspension or expulsion, and staff spending more time dealing with behavior and less time on instruction and learning. Keeping students with behavior problems in school can create a disincentive for teachers and administrators who must deal with these problems. This often results in encouraging at-risk students to leave school rather than address the root of the behavior problem. The panel who wrote this recommendation strongly encouraged schools or districts to improve staff with professional development on how to build at high-risk students' classroom behavior and social skills. Evidence connecting professional development to reduced dropout rates is limited, but it is difficult for students to develop such competencies without staff who model these skills when interacting with students. Now we are moving to recommendation 5, which is personalize the learning environment and the instructional process. Students attending large schools can become alienated and uninterested to the point where they feel little attachment to school and drop out. Reforms aimed at creating smaller school environments have been found to be associated with more positive student achievement, school climate, school attendance, and graduation rates. To achieve this recommendation, the school should establish small learning communities. They can also establish team teaching and create smaller classes and create extended time in classroom through changes to the school schedule. And they can encourage student participation in extracurricular activities. The potential roadblocks of this recommendation is that staff may resist restructuring the school to personalize the school environment. Teachers and staff who are asked to implement the changes may be less enthusiastic than administrators or district officials. The suggested approach is strong and steady leadership may push restructuring ahead against resistance, but district administrators must provide professional development and collaborative planning time to establish support for school reforms and allow staff who wish to transfer the opportunity to do so. There is another problem that turnover of staff in key leadership positions can hamper progress. New leaders will have their own agendas and ideas about promising future directions. Districts that impose school restructuring efforts on school may encounter more resistance from principals and teachers and possibly staff turnover. To solve this problem, soliciting principal and staff input first will reduce resistance. Developing realistic timelines for implementation also will improve support for change. Now we are moving to our last recommendation, which is provide rigorous and relevant instruction to better engage students in learning and provide the skills needed to graduate and to serve them after they leave school. To improve the rigor and relevance of classroom instruction, teachers need ongoing ways to expand their knowledge and improve their skills. Researchers posit that developing professional learning communities where teachers collaborate on instructional design and provide collective feedback on their teaching, perhaps with the assistance of instructional coaches or mentors, may be a way to improve instructional practices. Schools should provide teachers with ongoing ways to expand their knowledge and improve their skills. Schools should also integrate academic content with career and skill-based themes through career academics or multiple pathways models. They can also host career days and offer opportunities for work-related experiences and visits to post-secondary campuses. Schools can provide students with actual assistance and information about the demands of college. And the school can partner with local businesses to provide opportunities for work-related experience such as internships, stimulated job interviews, or long-term employment. Well, guess who become the obstacle for this recommendation? Staff again. Some staff resist integrating career and technical education into academic curricula. So according to the solutions in previous slides, what should we do to change the mind of this staff? The answer should be professional development. And state standards and college admission requirements discourage the integration of academic and career and technical education. Well, the range of options for high school students wanting to reform their academic courses is constrained by the expectations of college admission officers and by state content standards. However, relevant career examples and academic courses that cover the expected content can be integrated into traditional course content titles and descriptions. Indeed, the aim of an integrated academic career and technical program is to provide instruction that makes the academic and the career and technical work complementary rather than competing. We also have to ask a question, which is, do students really want to go to college? Students may lack of interest in attending college. Curricular reform that makes explicit the connection between academic skills and professional success should help to inspire greater interest in college, as should opportunities to have students visit colleges and interact with students and staff from colleges. Well, now after listening to the all 6 recommendations, let's conclude it. The first recommendation is to utilize data systems. The second one is adult advocating. The third one is the academic support. The fourth one is implementing programs. The fifth recommendation is personalizing instruction. And the sixth one is rigorous and relevant instruction. And this is the reference page.